My name is Alex, and I live a very busy life. Every day feels the same, yet every day feels too fast. I wake up early in the morning when the sky is still dark. My alarm rings, and I turn it off quickly. There is no time to rest. I prepare myself, drink a quick cup of coffee, and leave the house in a hurry. I work in an office in the city. The roads are always full of people and cars. Everyone looks busy, just like me. At work, my phone keeps ringing. Emails keep coming. Meetings never seem to end. I try my best to focus, but my mind feels tired. Sometimes, I forget to take a proper lunch break. I eat at my desk and continue working. After work, my day is not over. I rush to the market, buy groceries, and go back home. At home, I clean, cook, and prepare for the next day. I tell myself I will rest after everything is done, but something is always left. When I finally sit down, I feel too tired to enjoy anything. I used to love reading books and listening to music. Now, I barely have time for these small joys. My friends call me, but I often say, I am busy. Slowly, they stop calling. My family asks how I am, and I always say, I am fine. But deep inside, I feel empty and exhausted. One night, while lying in bed, I stared at the ceiling. My body was tired, but my mind would not stop thinking. I asked myself a simple question: why am I always busy, but never happy? I realized I was living on autopilot, running from one task to another without thinking about myself. That thought stayed with me. I knew something was wrong, but I did not know what to change. My life was full, yet it felt incomplete. I closed my eyes, wondering if tomorrow would be the same again. Is being busy really the same as living a good life? What happens when Alex finally stops and looks at his life closely? Listen to part 2 to continue the story. The next morning began like all the others, but something inside me felt different. I still woke up early, still rushed through my routine, and still felt the pressure of time. Yet the question from the night before stayed in my mind. Why am I always busy, but never happy? It followed me as I walked to work and sat at my desk. During the day, I started noticing things I had ignored before. I noticed how tense my shoulders felt. I noticed how often I checked my phone, even when there was no new message. I noticed how rarely I took a deep breath. Everyone around me looked the same, busy, focused, and tired. It felt like we were all running in the same direction, without knowing why. At lunch, instead of eating at my desk, I went outside and sat on a bench. It was a small change, but it felt strange and quiet. I watched people walk by, some laughing, some talking on the phone, some sitting calmly like me. For a few minutes, I did nothing. No emails. No calls. Just sitting. My mind felt uncomfortable at first, but then slowly, it felt lighter. After work, I still had many things to do, but I tried to slow down. I walked instead of rushing. I cooked a simple meal instead of something quick and careless. While eating, I did not look at my phone. These small actions felt unfamiliar, but also peaceful. That evening, I thought about my past. I remembered days when I had less money and fewer responsibilities, but more time for myself. I remembered laughing with friends and enjoying simple moments. I realized that somewhere along the way, I had started saying yes to everything and no to myself. I understood that being busy had become a habit. I stayed busy to feel important, to feel needed, and to avoid thinking too much. But this habit was slowly taking my energy and joy. I was living, but I was not truly present in my own life. Before sleeping, I wrote a short list in my mind. It was not a list of tasks, but a list of feelings I wanted: calm, balance, and time. The next few days were different, not because my life suddenly became easy, but because I became more aware of how I lived. I still woke up early and went to work, but I tried to notice my feelings instead of ignoring them. When I felt tired, I accepted it. When I felt stressed, I paused for a moment instead of pushing myself harder. At work, I stopped saying yes to everything immediately. I learned to take short breaks and breathe deeply. I realized that the world did not stop when I slowed down. Emails could wait. Small pauses did not make me lazy. In fact, they helped me think more clearly. My mind felt less heavy, and my body felt slightly more relaxed. After work, I began making small choices for myself. Some evenings, I went for a short walk instead of rushing home. Other days, I listened to music while cooking. These were simple things, but they made my days feel more human. I also called an old friend one evening. We talked and laughed, and for the first time in a long while, I felt connected. I understood that my busy life had slowly taken control of me, because I never questioned it. I believed being busy meant being successful. Now I knew that a full schedule does not always mean a full life. Rest, joy, and balance are just as important as work and responsibility. One night, as I sat quietly by the window, I felt calm. Not everything in my life was perfect, but I felt more present. I felt like I was finally living instead of only rushing through days. I promised myself that I would protect this balance, even when life tried to pull me back into old habits. My busy life did not disappear, but it changed. And that change began with one simple decision: to choose myself, even in small ways. If this story helped you reflect on your own busy life, please like the video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel for more English stories for listening practice.